Hey everyone, and welcome to Citizen Science Adventures. My name is Chris Goforth, and I'm the head of Citizen Science at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences in Raleigh. And I'm here in my backyard to share a way that you can get involved in citizen science right from your own home. Citizen science projects are ones where literally anyone can participate nearly anywhere and help contribute valuable scientific information that's being used in real scientific research. A lot of these citizen science projects can be done at your own home, in your own backyard, in your neighborhood parks. As you're walking for exercise, you can collect scientific data and share them with scientists who really want your information for the work that they do. This week, we're going to be participating in a project called Nature's Notebook, and this one is a phenology project. Phenology is the study of the recurring biological events in the annual life cycle of a species. We're going to look at trees specifically this week. So think about what kinds of things you see trees do every year. You get leaves in the spring. You get flowers at some point. You get fruits. Then the leaves change color and fall off the tree. The timing of when those events happen in the annual life cycle of a species is really important. Other species depend on tree species for their food sources, and if the timing of the things that the tree does don't match up with the timing of the things that the animals and other species that depend on them need those things, then nothing really works the way it's supposed to. Nature's Notebook is a really easy project to participate in. All you need to do is find a species on the Nature's Notebook list. There's about 1,400 of them, so there's plenty to choose from, and you can sort by species that are found in North Carolina. Once you've found a species, you're going to observe it and answer a series of yes/no questions. They're going to ask things like, do you see leaves on your tree? You answer yes or no. If you say yes, it will ask you how many leaves are on your tree. And you just answer a series of yes/no questions that are the same across all species of trees and answer them to the best of your ability. These data go to the National Phenology Network in Arizona, where they study the effect of climate and weather on the timing of these recurring biological events. They're doing a lot of different studies with the data that you submit, including looking at the impacts of climate change on the timing of various species and how they interact. The data that you collect is vitally important for the work that they do. And so participating in this project is one really great way that you can share information from your own home with people who need it. So we hope that this week and any time in the future that you wish to participate, that you will join us for a citizen science adventure as we explore phenology with Nature's Notebook. Many of you are probably already familiar with the flowering dogwood. It is North Carolina's state flower, and you've probably seen the big white blooms that this tree produces in the spring each year. This particular tree, the one that's growing in my own backyard, is a really special tree because it is a clone. Nature's Notebook sent out hundreds of these clone trees to various people throughout the southeastern U.S. 5 or 6 years ago now, and had people plant them in their yards. The way this works is everyone is reporting data on their trees, and so we can look at the influence of things like climate and weather on these trees, but ignore all the genetic variation because these trees are exactly the same. So the timing of the different parts of the annual life cycle of this tree, for example, when the flowers bloom each year, is entirely tied to the climate in Raleigh and the weather that has happened over the last year or so in Raleigh as well. So I really love this tree. It's one of my favorite trees. I'm really excited to have it in my yard. I've been growing it since it was about 8 inches tall, and now it's about 6 feet tall. So it's a really great tree. Now let's take a look at some of the different characteristics that you are going to need to look at to collect data for Nature's Notebook. Nature's Notebook wants you to take a look at a variety of different features on this tree. So in particular, at this time of year, we're going to be looking for leaves, breaking leaf buds. We're going to be looking at flowers, whether the flowers are open, whether they're producing pollen. But later in the year, you would also look at leaves falling off the tree, leaves changing color, and potentially seeds and berries that are produced by these trees. So this tree has a variety of different things you can see here. So if you take a look right here, you're looking at a leaf bud and another one here. So those are where the leaves are going to emerge off the tree in the not too distant future. But you can also see a lot of flower buds. So like right here is a good example of that. They tend to be round balls sitting on the ends of the stems, and those contain the flowers that you know and love as our state flower. Now, one thing that's important to know for Nature's Notebook for flowering dogwoods is that the white petals that you see on flowering dogwood blooms are not actually petals. Those are bracts, and they are protecting a small cluster of flowers that are going to be at the center of the bracts. And so what you really need to look for when you're looking at whether the flowers are open or not is whether those little itty bitty flowers in the center of the bracts are open, and not whether the big white petal looking things are open. What you can see here, though, is that all the buds are really tightly closed. Most of the leaves are really tightly closed still, the leaf buds, and so we don't have too many breaking leaf buds. But let's take a look at one leaf bud that is definitely breaking. So take a look at these leaf buds here, here, and here. Can you see how there's a little bit of green sticking up above the kind of brownish part? So that's a breaking leaf bud. You can start to see the green parts of the leaves sticking out above the bud itself, and so those are breaking leaf buds. But let's also take a look at one that's not breaking so that you can see the difference. This bud that you see here is one that's not broken yet. The green part is not sticking up above the edges of the bud, and so it has not broken yet. It's going to soon, but it hasn't quite yet. So what you want to do with the leaf buds, and the breaking leaf buds in this case, are count how many that your tree has in total. Now let's take a closer look at the flower bud really quickly here as well. So this right here is a flower bud on the flowering dogwood, and as you can see, it doesn't have the big white bracts open yet, so the flowers on the inside are not yet exposed. So this is considered a closed flower, but it is a flower bud. And so for this tree, we want to count how many total flower buds that we have on this tree, and we will also report on the percentage of flower buds that have opened. So we have about 20 or 25 or so flower buds on this tree, and none of them are open, so we have a 0% open rate. So we've looked at the flower buds and counted them. We've seen that most of them are still closed. We've looked at the leaf buds, ones that are breaking and ones that are still unopened completely. We don't have any leaves that are actually coming out all the way. So Nature's Notebook defines a leaf as one that has emerged enough from the bud that you can see the stem at the bottom or the petiole. I don't see that on any of the leaf buds on my tree, so my tree does not have any leaves yet. And because it doesn't have leaves, we also can't have increasing leaf size, which means the leaves are still growing larger. We can't have colored leaves, and we can't have falling leaves. And so most of the rest of the leaf questions are unimportant. Likewise with the buds, we have flower buds that are still closed, so we don't have open flowers, which means we can't have fruits, because you have fruits after the flowers are pollinated. So we have no fruits, and we have no fruit or seed drop off this tree as well. So our tree has closed buds, about 20 or 25 of them. It has a few breaking leaf buds, again about 20 or 25 of them. And that's it. That's happening on this tree so far. So it's not too far along. Now let's take a look at the app and see how you're going to enter the data. All right, let me walk you through how to use the app. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Nature's Notebook app. You can download this app for free for both iPhone and Android, but please note that you will need to create a site where you want to collect your data and choose the plants and animal species that you would like to record data on before you use the app. So I have opened the app and I have all these different locations where I collect data. And for my home location, it is called Maine, and so I'm making sure that that is selected from my Sites tab. I can see which species of plants and animals that I have selected to record in my yard by clicking plants and animals. But I want to go to observe and actually record data for the species that we just looked at, that flowering dogwood. So the first thing I want to do is make sure that I am looking at plants and not animals. So I'm here on plants. I'm checking the observation date. If it is incorrect, you're going to want to fix that just by tapping here, and it will bring up the calendar. It's correct, so I'm going to go ahead and click cancel. And then I want to choose the species of plant that I have recorded data for. So my tree that we just looked at, I call thing 2. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on thing 2, and let's walk through how to actually enter the data. These act as a series of yes/no questions. And so the first question asks if I saw any breaking leaf buds. And if at any point you don't know what it's asking or what exactly you're looking for, you can tap the I button and it will bring up the definition of the phenophase. So a leaf bud for Nature's Notebook is defined as a green leaf tip visible at the end of the bud, but before the first leaf in the bud has unfolded to expose the leaf stalk or petiole. So what we have seen in my tree are a few breaking leaf buds. And so we did see some where the green was emerging from the bud, but we didn't have a petiole yet. So I'm going to go ahead and click yes. And that will bring up a screen asking me to tell them how many leaf buds I saw. We saw about 20 to 25 on my tree, so I'm going to go ahead and click 11 to 100. It gives you these big categories so that you don't have to be quite as precise. Like, you don't need to know that you have exactly 23 breaking leaf buds on your tree. You're really estimating kind of the overall number on your tree. Now, I don't have any leaves on my tree because you can't see that petiole or stalk on the leaf of any of the leaves that we saw. We just see breaking leaf buds. If I did have leaves, it would ask me to say how many of the total possible leaves on the tree I saw and give a percentage for that. For me, it's 0% right now. So I'm actually going to go ahead and tap no because I didn't have any didn't have any actual leaves yet. If I don't have leaves though, I can't have increasing leaf size because I don't have any leaves that are currently getting bigger. I don't have any colored leaves, and I don't have any falling leaves either. The next set of questions asks about flowers and flower buds. So the next one asks whether I have flowers or flower buds, and I click yes for that. And then again, it's going to bring up a quantification. So I'm going to say there's about 11 to 100 of these because there are approximately 20 or 25 for the whole tree. We didn't see any open flowers though. And remember that the flowers on a flowering dogwood are those little itty bitty flowers that are in the center of the bracts and not the bracts themselves open. But the bracts were completely closed, so we don't have any open flowers. Clicking no for that. If you don't have any open flowers though, and you haven't had any open flowers yet for the year, you can't have fruits because those come after the flowers are pollinated. And you can't have ripe fruits until you have fruits, and you can't have recent fruit or seed drop until you have ripe fruits. And so I'm going to click no for all the fruit options. So that's all I need to report on for this tree. I'm going to go ahead and click save data. Now, if you want to go onto another plant in your yard, you'll click next plant and it will take you to the next one. You can look at your list again by tapping on the pull down menu next to the name. If you want to switch over to an animal that you'd like to record data on in your yard, you can switch by tapping the animal, and then you can see all the different animals that you're looking at. But I'm just going to go ahead and report the data for the one tree. So I want to go ahead and click the review button. To make sure that your data is actually getting sent to Nature's Notebook, you're going to want to tap the sync button at the bottom of the review page, which sends the data from your phone into the big database that Nature's Notebook maintains. And this is the way that you're sure that your data has actually been submitted.
All right, we've done it. We've participated in Nature's Notebook. All we needed to do were make some basic observations on a species off the list. We observed a flowering dogwood today. We answered some yes/no questions, and we submitted the answers to those questions to Nature's Notebook. We use the app, but you can also use the website. This is all you have to do to participate in Nature's Notebook, and this is something you can definitely do at your own home, in your own neighborhood park, somewhere near your home where it's easy to access. You choose a species off the list, make basic observations, submit them, and that is really it. You can do this. This is really pretty simple to do. If you would like to share information about your own adventures, we would love to hear stories about how this worked for you. You can feel free to ask questions, leave them in the comments, and we'd be happy to follow along with what you're doing and see how this citizen science adventure is working for you in your own home. We hope that you'll enjoy participating in Nature's Notebook with us, and that you will join us on future citizen science adventures as we explore other ways that you can get involved in citizen science right from your own home.